Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. So happy you're here. Today is a get ready with me day because I needed to put on makeup and I am in the mood for spring. So this is the spring edition. We are talking all my tips and tricks, how to do your full face, eye makeup, whole 9 yards. And I'm talking Mother's Day bundles. So they're getting ready to come out really soon. So if you want to check those out, keep watching. If you want to see this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and thanks for being here. All right, friends, let's go ahead and get started on this Get Ready With Me. I'm going to be going over all of the Mother's Day bundles from Maskcara Beauty as well. So first of all, skincare. My skin is so good right now. That sounds really bad, but it is amazing because I used this last night. This is the Milk Mask. If you are unfamiliar, it is like an exfoliating, moisturizing mask. So once a week I use this. You can use it more often, but pretty much you just put it on and you wipe it off after 3 to 5 minutes depending on your skin tolerance. And what it does is it will take off all of that dead skin that needs to slough off anyway and reveal like beautiful glowing skin underneath. It'll moisturize as well. And so that is one of the bundles. You actually get this and the microfiber cloths to take it off with. So the eye bundle. So I'm gonna be doing an eye look today for spring using that bundle, and then I will share all the lip and cheek colors that come in the other bundle as well. So let's go ahead and just get into it. My skin is prepped and good because I used that last night. I don't have any dead skin. I've got a smooth surface, and then I just went in with my SPF. That is the only thing I've put on my makeup. I'm not even gonna prime. This makeup is designed so you don't really need a primer. I usually use my setting spray as a primer, but it's unavailable at the moment. And you guys, I haven't noticed a big difference at all when I don't use it as primer. So I'm not even gonna prime with it. We're just gonna go right into eye primer. So this, for me, is a must. I have oily eyelids. This link will be down in the description box below, along with all of the colors I use. But I'm gonna go ahead and give my eyelids a nice layer of primer so that way I don't get creasing and all that, because otherwise I'll get creasing and I'll get, what's the word? Transfer. So if you have an issue with transfer, like you apply liner and then throughout the day you see it's transferring to your upper lid, you have oily eyelids. You need a eyeshadow primer as well. It's like night and day difference for me. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and just start with my face. So if you're new here, you might not know, I am a huge believer in color corrector. So if you look at my face, I have some red and I have some darkness and I have some purple under my eyes. And so I love to use a color corrector for that. I'm gonna show you a different brush. So let's go in with the B Square. This is the blush bronzer brush. And of course, my 3D foundation. So I'm gonna use some different colors that I normally don't use today. I've got my double decker. This is the new Gatsby design that the lip and cheek combo comes in this compact, or at least this design compact. You guys, so if you are needing a color match with this makeup, my color match questionnaire is below. I am going to match those areas of your face that you need, depending on the coverage you like, depending on the shades in your face. This makeup is designed so that you are gonna get the coverage where you want it, where you need it, and you can easily get a natural to a full coverage look depending on the day. So I'm gonna do a little bit lighter coverage because this is a spring tutorial. I don't know about you guys, but when I am going into spring and summer months, I like to wear less. So I wanna get the same coverage on those darker areas, but I don't want to look like I'm wearing heavy makeup. Hence why these creams are amazing. It'll still look like skin when I'm done. It's just gonna look like me, but a little bit more polished. I like that word, polished. So I actually have 4 highlights in my compact today. So I'm gonna show you guys how I use those. And if you are one of those people, I color match to Magic Mango, okay? This is my color corrector here. I wanna show you exactly what I mean when I say little, okay? That's it. I touched it, and I touched it gently. I didn't pounce into it like I do with my contour. I touched it gently, and that right there is enough for this entire area of my face. So I color correct what I call the mask area, mostly because that is where I have the most redness. And you guys, I'm gonna just kind of press that on there. Notice that you can't even see it, okay? I'm gonna use this brush. I love this brush for getting the lightest hand application. If you are new or if you're using any kind of color as a color corrector. Okay, the last thing we want is for you to be layering so much makeup that you feel heavy, tacky, sticky, anything like that, or for it to look like makeup. Okay, so the whole thing with 3D foundation is that you don't necessarily have to layer, but what I found is that I get better longevity and better coverage by just using a slightly darker shade on those areas, and it just makes night and day difference with my makeup. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the same thing. Barely touch. I mean, you can barely even see it on there, okay? And I'm just going to buff it in. Now, these brushes and how you use these brushes can make a huge difference on application as well. So I am not pressing this one on, I am buffing. And so what I recommend in my matches, if you need a color corrector, I will tell you exactly how to apply it depending on your face and like what it is that you're wanting extra coverage on, okay? So for me, I can easily just buff on a thin layer only where I need it. I don't necessarily need this all over my entire face, okay? And then I'm really not super red on my forehead today. You guys, your skin can change so much from one day to the next. You don't necessarily need to do the exact same application every day. Look at your skin, pay attention to it. Like my chin is always a little bit darker and warmer, so I put some right there just on the tip of my chin. And then if I have blemishes, you guys, Mango is magical for blemishes. And I seem to always get them around my mouth certain times of the month, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna press on a little bit more where I need more coverage. So I always recommend buffing in the smallest amount possible first, okay? That gives you the ability to build up the coverage in thin layers, because if you build it up in thick layers, no amount of blending is gonna help you, okay? You just are gonna have to take it off. So I tap in, okay? I barely have any on my finger, okay? And then all this purple I want to get rid of. So I'm just gonna kind of distribute that by using the warmth of my finger, and I'm distributing that underneath my eye to get rid of my dark circles. Can you tell how all that purple is now color corrected? So it doesn't look crazy dark, orange, anything like that. I know everyone always sees Mango and they're like, that color looks orange. It can if you put it on too thick, okay? That's a big indicator that it's on way too thick. These colors actually blend in really well, but it's all about the amount you're using. Amount really matters with these creams. So I even have the fairest of people that can wear Mango as a color corrector because they just use less, okay? So I also have hyperpigmentation right here. That one I like to press on as well. And again, you can use a brush. I like the warmth of my finger to give me, I can really control the coverage, and I can feel like I can press it in until you can't see it anymore, if that makes sense. So sometimes I'll even, if you can tell my nose is darker, sometimes I go in and I just press on more. I do have trouble areas right here. I feel like most people do, that their nose is red, or if your makeup is wearing off in that area, that's a good indicator that you need to pay more careful attention to that area of your face. Okay, either maybe you're not getting good coverage there, or you need a slight color corrector. You guys, you can even use our contours as color correctors. So if you have a cool shade of contour, so I'm talking, let's see, Ash, Astoria, Aspen, those are really cool contours, meaning they're the grayest, and you can even use that on redness or around your nose, and it gives you better coverage. Then you can layer on your highlights over. No joke, guys, my motto for my business, for my team, for my clients, all of them, is to experiment. I feel like you cannot learn what works for you and what works with this makeup until you experiment with it for yourself. So try something new this week. All right, I'm color corrected. You really cannot tell I've done a whole lot, but that's okay. If you can really see it, that means it's on too thick. Use your perfector and then press that on all over the skin. So I don't have it on too thick anywhere, so I don't necessarily use this between every layer, but I do recommend when you're first learning this makeup or you're first trying to layer that you press it in with your barely damp perfector. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use that same brush. Notice you can't see anything on it. I don't need to wipe it off, nothing, because these brushes are designed that way. And I'm gonna then use my main shade, and I'm just going to give some coverage all over. So under the eyes, I like to really press because that's a really gentle area, hard area, okay? I wanna make sure I'm kind of not pulling at any of my lines and wrinkles because it's a problem area for me, as is most people. So I'm gonna press on that color, and I really wanna make sure I have all of that color corrector evened out and all matching now, okay? And then by just pressing this shade all over, okay, I am going to kind of remove some of that warmth that that color corrector had, and I'm bringing it all back to matching my neck because that is key. I want my neck to match. I can wear that shade all over, and yes, I would have great longevity. I'm talking my color corrector shade. So I can use this all over as my base. I have fine longevity, I have fine coverage, all of those things, but it pulls me too warm for my neck and chest. So this is why I do it this way. I use this next shade down in order to keep it all matching. It also gives me better coverage because I am layering thinly, 2 different layers, okay? You can do the exact same concept with one color, okay? You can buff in, thin them out where you need the most coverage, okay? Even then go in and press it on all over, and you're gonna get more coverage on those areas where you slightly layered because you are building it up in thin layers. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. Now, I am not doing this so thick that I'm gonna look like I have a mask on or full coverage, okay? I'm kind of just, I have nothing left on my brush, but I'm using that brush to just make sure it's kind of, I call it evenly distributed, okay? So I'm not buffing because then I really will move where I place that color corrector. But I'm still just kind of pressing, and it kind of helps blend, and it kind of helps move it to where I have a nice thin layer. I don't have it in one spot and not the other. And anywhere that I feel like I might need a little bit more coverage, I'm just gonna go and press on a little bit more. Okay, I usually like to pick up a different brush. I'll grab my Buffy. You'll see me a lot of times use this brush to do the exact same thing with my mango and with my main color. But this brush picks up way more product than this one. This one's really soft and flexible, and this one's really stiff and dense. And so I warn you, if you are new to this makeup with this brush, it will pick up more. It's gonna be a lot harder to get a very thin layer until you're more experienced with these creams. So I do love this brush for my eyes. Okay, I'm gonna use this with color correcting the purple on my lids as well. And right in that inner corner. I love the shape of it because it can get right in that inner corner where I am the most purple. And then I'm gonna use my main shade right over that so my lids aren't darker than the rest of me. And I'm just kind of evening out. So this is why I primed my eyes first, because I cannot use creams on my eyelids to even them out unless I prime first, or the creams will crease on me because I'm oily, unfortunately, and I have a lot of texture. My eyelids are very aging and I have way too many creases. It will crease on me immediately. Any creams do. So if you have similar issues, that eyeshadow primer will help you out big time. Okay, so I'm fully evened out. So to me, I look completely flat. I'm all one color. This is what we're trying to avoid with mascara, because this is three-dimensional foundation. Okay, so now it's time to add in that shadow and that dimension. Where's my favorite brush? There it is. Okay, favorite brush ever. Contouring, this changes the game for me. So this is the detail hack. I love this straight edge and the detail, and it's a game changer. So I'm gonna go in with my contour. Okay, I'm gonna use Astoria today. You'll see there's a giant divot in mine because of the way I dip in. So our contours are very dry, you'll notice, and our highlights are a little bit more creamy, a little bit more, I don't wanna say tacky. They're not tacky, but they're different consistency. So our contours are designed that way. They're designed to be drier so that they stay longer where you put them. So that being said, it is more difficult to just simply swipe in to the contours. Now, granted, you saw I don't swipe into the highlights either. I don't swipe. It gets way too much product on your brush, in my opinion. So in order for me to dip into my contour, this is the way I have found for the past 3 years works best for me. And what I do is I pounce. Now the contours, I use pressure. I pounce in with force. Highlights, I barely tap into them, okay? It does make a difference. So I tap in with some pressure, and that's why there's a hole in my contour. You'll see I have plenty on my brush, and I only have it on half. So I do that at an angle, so that way when I go to apply it, I get the perfect stripe with the least amount of blending. Starting up at the top of my ear, I'm going towards this corner of my mouth, and then I'm stopping about the corner of my eye so it doesn't get too far in. Now you'll see I put a lot, for demonstration obviously, I put way too much there. So I'm gonna go to the other side, and I'm gonna go ahead and press that color because I got plenty on my brush right on. And see, that is a good amount in my opinion. This, way too much. In fact, I can see it globbed on there, but that's okay. I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm going to press it along my hairline. So foreheads obviously are very optional. If you have a very small forehead, you don't have to necessarily. I have a larger forehead, so I really like to frame out my hairline. So I'm gonna go down farther down on my forehead, okay? And that's gonna give the illusion of a shorter forehead. You can also go farther on the sides in order to kind of give the illusion of a more narrow. So it's all about playing with lights and shadows. That's all highlighting and contouring is. So then I'm gonna go under my jaw, back here at the ear, where the shadow's the darkest, and I'm going up underneath my jaw. And then I'm always pulling that down to blend. I don't want to have any kind of lines that I forget to blend in. I've done that before. Okay, and then I'm gonna do a real quick nose hack. I love this brush because I can use that edge and get it just on the edge, and then I can easily draw a straight line. So when you're doing a nose hack, you pretty much just want to act like you are contouring to, I can't do this with one hand, and look at the mirror. Like there's a pencil in between your nose, whatever. So I'm pretty much just drawing those two parallel lines, and then I'm gonna kind of use the edge of the brush and I'm gonna blend it up towards my brow. Same thing with the other end. Okay, and then I'm gonna use a little bit on the end of my nose to kind of shorten it. Okay, you can use the small end to kind of go up into your brow and use that to blend as well. And then we're gonna go real detailed. We're gonna go under the bottom lip in order to make my lips look fuller, because they are not, and add that shadow as well. Okay, let's get back to blending. So I kind of already blended my forehead. It's not a bad habit. It's a habit that I do when I am applying contour. I blend at the same time. So forehead, you blend up and down. Okay, so that way that highlight and contour blend into each other. When it comes to contour on the cheekbones, it's the hardest part to actually blend. The key, just remember, always blend up, okay? You don't necessarily need to go in and start doing this. Our contours blend so easily, you're gonna blend it right off, okay? Just kind of start pulling your brush, okay? Really soft strokes. I am not putting much pressure on this brush at all. Okay, I'm not like moving, you don't see the bristles coming down, anything like that. I'm just going to look and see where the top of that line is as my hair gets stuck in it because I put so much contour on. It's okay. There are no mistakes with cream makeup. We can fix it. And I'm just gonna kind of use that, and I'm just gonna kind of pull it upwards. Do you see how it's naturally fading as it goes upward? Okay. I mean, I got it like all up in my hair here. Okay, so that bottom line is very defined. When you're new to contour, that scares a whole lot of people. Okay, you can either take this brush and just start pressing along that lower line, and it's gonna kind of blur it out. Another thing you can do is take the brush you applied your highlight with and do the same thing. Okay, so what I always look for, I like a defined contour here, so I don't mind that line so much as long as it's not like too sharp. Like you don't want to see it looks like you just drew a line. You want to have a natural blur, right? Okay, this right here is where I am always most concerned, that I want it fading and disappearing as it goes towards my mouth. I don't want any kind of shadow in my smile lines, and I want that to look more natural, a natural fade. Okay, so on this side, I feel like I applied it better. It's okay, day to day. You'll notice some days you'll have an amazing contour, and other days you're gonna be like, what did I do? So it's okay. Just, I like to, when I apply it the correct way and don't apply too much, I just simply take kind of, okay, so I pressed it on, I lift the brush up slightly, and I just keep pressing. So this is how I kind of add, apply, and blend my contour really quick, is that I'll just keep blending by pressing. So you don't necessarily have to go in there and start rubbing, it will blend away. So I just kind of do that, I kind of flick upwards, and then again, I really am paying attention to what it looks like through here. And I want that natural fade as it goes. I like it stronger here, and it fades as it goes down. Now, you'll notice when you look directly straight forward, you shouldn't be able to see a bunch of contour, okay? Our cheekbones are up here. They are not here on the front of your face. So I have people send me pictures all the time here saying, how's my contour look? I can't see it. That's a good thing. You don't want to see it looking directly straight on, okay? You turn, then you should be able to see that shadow that is where naturally you're gonna have a shadow when you turn your head. Does that make sense? Okay, so I have deliberately not blended my nose, and that is because when it comes to nose contouring, you always wanna do your highlight. The highlight is also a huge factor when it comes to nose contouring. So that's why I save that for last. Now I'm gonna go ahead and accent brighten. So the order, I get asked all the time about the order of products. It really is personal preference. This is the order that I've found has helped me the most in order to save me time. Because if you don't know, if you're new here, I'm all about efficiency and how I can do things the easiest and fastest way possible that work, I guess. So for me, I love to accent brighten last, then I blend, then I apply my blush. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my normal under eye brightener is Aura. So that is about, let's see, technically 3 shades maybe lighter than 3, maybe, I can't think of it, than my main highlight, okay? I'm gonna use the Buffy brush, and again, I'm just gonna gently tap once in order to get that color. I'm gonna start up right here, and I'm just gonna start pressing, okay? I'm gonna press down my nose and under the eye. And remember, I applied a color corrector and my main shade underneath my eyes. My under eyes are my problem area. I need to make sure that that highlight stays thin there so I don't get, for one, creasing. The more product under your eyes, the more you'll get creasing. And when you do add a powder there, in order to not get creasing, that is what will age you the most. And I do not need those issues under my eyes. I'm aging enough there, okay? So I put the smallest amount possible under my eye and down the side of my nose all the way up to where I had added that nose contour, because we want the nose to be brightened on the side. And then right down the middle, we will add that. So I just kind of then flip it over, use the tip of the brush, and this is where I attempt to get it straight. And then we feather up between the brows. Okay, so I love this Buffy brush because it's great at pressing, and I simply just move it while pressing a lot, and that is how I can distribute that product really thin and really evenly. And I just do the entire triangle really quickly. Okay, so then again, I can take some right in between my brows up into this upside down triangle on my forehead and then my chin. Okay, I am doing the center of my face. I call it my diamond. Okay, this is what brings attention to your eyes. So this is an extra step that is really gonna give you that highlight portion of the highlight and contour. Okay, this is the thing that if you are using a shade much lighter for your accent brightener, like I am, like mine is, you know, 3 shades at least from my main shade. If I was to apply that first, it's gonna give me texture, it's gonna wear off immediately, it's gonna emphasize every fine line and pore and wrinkle I have. But by layering it over those darker shades that actually match my skin underneath, I don't get any of those issues. Okay, now at this point, it sometimes still looks a little bit makeup-y. Sometimes you can layer and you'll be like, okay, that's just like sitting on my skin. Yes, it will. That's why this baby is magical. So I'm gonna do one final thing, because I remember I put 4 shades in here. So I get asked all the time when people are like, oh, I want a brighter highlight. Brighter highlights for accent brightening isn't always necessarily better. You want a light enough highlight to where it's gonna look natural and it's still gonna match the lightest tones in your skin, okay? So when I'm color matching, I'm not necessarily being like, what's gonna give her the biggest pop? Like, you can easily go from the darkest dark to the lightest light, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna sit well on top of each other. And so when I'm picking out a brightener, yes, you can always try a brighter one later if you want, but I'm picking that color for a reason. And it's usually to do with your skin's undertone and the other colors I chose from you. So sometimes I'm choosing a color because you need it because of another color. So it can be confusing, but if you are one of those people that like, I want more of a pop, the most universal, I believe, is linen. Now, it might not look that much brighter. Well, it does look pretty much a lot brighter to me. This is Aura and this is linen. For some reason, linen is like, I don't know, it's like on steroids. I swear this color takes so little to give you results. I can't wear it very well over my normal main shade without it giving more emphasis on my fine lines. But when I bring my under eyes, those areas I want brightened down first, and use Aura, which is my normal brightener, I can then add just a touch of linen to give myself more of a pop and be able to get kind of that benefit of using that lighter, brighter highlight without really aging me, which is my, like I've said 100 times, my biggest issue. So I'm gonna show you, I'm trying to find a brush that I can just put the smallest amount. I'm just gonna use this small end of the detail, and I'm gonna show you how very little goes a long way with linen, okay? Okay, so I've got some linen on there. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop that right there, and I'm just gonna start kind of pressing as I'm moving the brush to just pop just the inner corner, okay? Now, remember, for mature skin or anyone that has a lot of lines or creasing under their eyes, you kind of want to avoid the area where when we smile, we have the most, okay? Which is pretty much usually from the mid-eye out, okay? Where all the crow's feet, all that jazz is. The inner eye usually does not have that, okay? So for mature skin, that's why I recommend going from inner corner and just sticking to this triangle area right here. This part right next to the nose doesn't show age as much as some of these other areas. So remember, the lighter highlight you pick, the more it's gonna emphasize lines, okay? And I don't think we wanna do that. We wanna find that perfect shade that is going to brighten you, yet not emphasize all those things we don't want emphasized. So for me, I can use just a touch of linen there, and if you can tell the difference in the kind of pop it gives, and once again, I can see it sitting in my lines if I was to zoom in super close, but I have not perfected yet. And I'm gonna perfect it so much that all that is gonna be gone once it is time to set it in place. I don't wanna have anything sitting in any of those little lines, because then they'll be set there and then you'll be able to see them and it'll age you. Okay, so now we're ready to perfect. Let's hope that I've talked so much. This guy is pretty dry by now. I'm going to just start pressing it. We're not sweeping, we're not swiping. Anybody else just think of Dora the Explorer when I said that? Oh my gosh. Swiper, no swiping. Rewind. Press this bad boy all over your skin. So not only, the main thing that this is really useful for is really pressing anywhere you layered. Well, obviously I layered highlights everywhere, but it can blur those lines, so contour lines. it is really good for where you're layering that accent brightener. So I really encourage, even if you don't feel like you need it on the rest of your face, if you're doing a really natural light look, then you might not feel like you need to remove excess and really press it into the skin if it's sitting okay. But anywhere you added a brightener, you're gonna want to press this on to make sure it's pressed in to the skin and looking natural. So now you get this natural light where it just looks like you have the flashlight shining on the front of your face, okay? Naturally lit, not makeup-y, okay? This side does look makeup-y because I haven't done it yet. But I press this on all over. I definitely spend the most time anywhere I'm gonna have creases, okay? So my smile lines sometimes do, under my eyes, and then anywhere I use that third, fourth highlight shade. Okay, so that nose contour is all blended. Here's the time to where you can really look at your face and say, okay, did I just pull off any makeup that I didn't want to? Meaning blemish coverage for one. Sometimes that little wet perfector will take off just enough of that layer where you need to add a little back. So when it comes to blemish coverage, I like to apply, press on with my finger, and then as a last step, I will use a little bit of powder. And no joke, I will just use my finger just to set it, okay? So if you don't remember, creams don't set. So if you want to not get any creases where you might have creasing issues as your face moves throughout the day, you're gonna have to set those areas in place. So my biggest issue is under the eyes. Said a million times, under the eyes. So I always, one last time, use my fingers and make sure I don't have any collected in those fun little lines. And when it comes to under eyes, less is more. You wanna use the finest milled powder possible with the lightest touch. I barely touch it with our vanilla dust, and then I just press it on. I don't sweep. I really don't sweep a whole lot of any in any of this makeup. Maybe the powder illuminators. That's about it. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the triangle. I'm gonna go a little bit right here on the nose because I tend to have that area wear off. I tend to get a little shiny between my brows. And then again, like I said, sometimes I get creasing right here. So I'm not even going in with more. I'm just using what's left on my brush. Just enough, that blemish, to make sure I don't have it going anywhere. So I then sweep in. So I just lied. I sweep. I do sweep. And look how much more powder you get. I then press this on my eyelids, okay? So when it comes to my eyelids, I really want a nice base, and I press so I have all those creams set in place, because oh my gosh, I'm already creasing on this side. Okay, so I am ready to go for eyeshadow. Okay, so barely any powder. I don't really have to worry about then applying a cream over that because I literally just did this area, and I'm not gonna be applying any more color of anything to that area, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of bronzer. So spring, I feel like people are starting to get the itch of, you know, some bronze skin. So I'm gonna show you my trick for adding a little bit of glow. I'm all for the dewy look. If you do not like the dewy look, if you're all for the matte look, skip this one. This is Glow, which is a illuminator for darker skin, but it is amazing for kind of giving a little bit of a sheen to our Bella bronzer. So Bella is our cream matte bronzer. It's not orange. It's not gonna make you look orange whatsoever. I put them next to each other so I can literally sweep. And mine, you don't normally have to, let's just be real. normally, these are very pigmented when they're brand new. Okay, mine are getting a little dry. It's time to melt them. So that's why I'm getting a little bit, like you can't even see it on the brush, okay? These are very creamy compared to our contours, so be warned the first time. But I like a little, so I am just going to kind of press that on. Can you see the glow? I don't know if you guys can even see. It already is giving my face, I love it. So now bronzer is a personal preference where you like it. I just spent all that time brightening the front of my face, the center. So I'm just going to bronze everywhere I didn't. So where the sun naturally hits is kind of the rule. You can go to the center of the forehead if you did not just brighten that. So some people like to apply bronzer first and then you can brighten. Once again, I'm just used to this order, so that's what I do. And then I'm just going to go right over my cheeks, okay? And then, so I go kind of like a C formation. And again, I'm pressing, guys, because again, I'm so used to it. I have hyperpigmentation, different things. I don't want to move that product that I just spent all that time placing. So I press on everywhere, unless it's somewhere I didn't. So my neck, I go down the neck. Yep, totally got a weird spot of self-tanner there. Oops. Hey, it happens to the best of us, even us seasoned pros, right? Ignore that. I was like, what is that? Oh, man. Next. Okay, so we are bronzed. I don't know if you can tell. It added a little bit of glow. You guys know I'm a self-tanner anyway, so I already got some glow going on. But let's go lip and cheek options. Oh my gosh. You guys, this is really hard because first of all, for a spring look, I feel like we have so many amazing options for lip and cheek colors. It's just gonna be a personal preference thing. So many scream spring to me, like anything pink or coral or peach or any of that, I'm game, right? So you guys know my love for our lip and cheeks and mixing them. So here, while I'm sitting here, let's prep the lips, the little lip conditioner. And then here are the 4 that come in the Gatsby Compact. It comes in a quad, so the one that holds 4 for the Mother's Day. And it's Ballerina. Let's see if I can swatch these. Ballerina, Cindy, Lolly, Tropicana. Okay, Ballerina, Cindy, Lolly, Tropicana. So if you can tell, Ballerina is like a really nude, but with a touch of pink, but it is a satin. So it gives a little bit of glow. It's in between the matte and glossy versions. Okay, Cindy is also a satin. It is more of like a corally pink, I would say. It reminds me a lot of Hollywood, if you like Hollywood, but it doesn't have any shimmer in it, and it's a satin, so Hollywood is a matte. And then Lolly is a more sheer pink. I don't know if you can see, it almost has like an iridescent purple shimmer in it, but it's pretty sheer actually. Like it looks pretty pigmented on my finger and on the 10, but it actually shears out quite a lot. And then Tropicana is another satin, and it's more of like a corally. So I'd say that's in the peach family. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So now to decide which one to wear. So I'm trying to think of, let's go ahead and I want to show you as many of the lip and cheek combos as possible. So I'm just gonna layer, because you guys know me, I always layer anyway. So first of all, I'm gonna go in with Ballerina. So Ballerina is like the very nude shade, and I'm just going to use that first to show you guys what that looks like. I love it because it's like the perfect no makeup look color, and it's really good for a nude lip. If you like nude, I feel like it has just enough pink that it doesn't give you that like dead look. You guys know what I mean? When you like look like you have no color in your lips, like it's too bare. So that one works really pretty. So that's Ballerina. And then I'm gonna top it with Cindy. Okay, Cindy is very pigmented for, like, I barely touched that. I'm gonna have to touch it with the back of my hand. It's very pigmented for a satin. Sometimes satins aren't as pigmented as the matte shades. So I blotted it off on the back of my hand. That's a good trick. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in with Cindy. It's gonna give, just gonna give a little bit more pink, and you can just get a little bit more off the back of your hand if you need it. Now remember, all of our blushes kind of die down after like 5 minutes. So you can always apply, kind of wait a few minutes and see if you need to apply a little bit more. So that is Ballerina and Cindy. I feel like this side needs a little bit more. Oh my gosh, it looks much stronger in the mirror than it does on camera. So let's let it die down. You guys know me, I'm a very neutral blush girl, so wearing anything too heavy is a bit much for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and do lips, finish the face before we do eyes. So I got my lip conditioner on. Let's grab my Multitasker. It is my go-to when it comes to lining my lips, and I like to use my contour, so either Astoria or Indigo. I'm gonna go ahead and show you Indigo. It's dark. It looks really dark and scary, but it makes such a beautiful liner. So either end of the Multitasker, this almost just creates like another shadow to make your lips look bigger. See the difference? Crazy, right? Really lightly, you don't see like a really dark liner on my lips. But it's gonna give that definition, and it's really gonna stay. At least it stays really well on me. If you wanna overline slightly to make your lips look even bigger, you can as well. I tend to just try to make my lips look more proportional, so I'm thinner through here. So I just overline where I need it. Okay, so lined, and let's see. Okay, we already did Ballerina and Cindy, so now I'm gonna do Tropicana and Lolly. So I'm gonna put on this with the Multitasker to get more pigmentation. So Tropicana is a little sheer. It's not super sheer, but it is a little bit compared to Cindy. Totally. But it is such a pretty color. It is really one of my favorites. And remember, all of these, no wait, 2 of these, Lolly, Tropicana, are both limited edition. So once I decide to pull them, they'll be gone, and then I'll cry. Don't worry, I stocked up. Okay, so that's Tropicana. It's so pretty. I love a satin on my lips. I can't wear the mattes at all. So these are great lip shades for the summer and the spring. So then, I don't know, maybe you can see it more. Can you see that purple in the light? Oh my gosh, I swear I can see it. Maybe you can see it. That is Lolly, and it has a beautiful iridescence to it. So I'm just gonna, actually I'm gonna use my finger. I'm gonna top that right over it. You'll see it'll add a little bit of sheen because it does have It'll make it more pink by layering those two, but it also has that shimmer in it. Okay, we're not done. Let's did the top layer. Let's finish off with illuminator. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish my face. I like to use my Perfector, and I love me some of the perfume. I think this is number 2. I'm just gonna press that on the upper cheekbones so that when my face turns, it catches that light. And I'm gonna just do a little bit down my nose, and of course, especially if I'm wearing something that shows it, my collarbones, behind my ears, because it's a perfume. Now, I am gonna grab my Best Blend Forever brush because I am going to use a little bit of Photoshop. I don't know, when I think spring, I think pink, and Photoshop is like the prettiest pink illuminator, but it's like a wearable pink. It doesn't really pull pink. It's just that pink toned glow. I don't know how to describe it. And if you get too much, like I did, see how you can almost see like a line right there? Grab your brush and kind of blur it out. Or grab your Perfector and blur it out. You can't get too much illuminator in my opinion. Not everyone might think that, but in my opinion, you can. And then you can take a little bit on the end and really highlight that Cupid's bow. It's gonna make your lips look bigger. Gosh, I think I got too much there too. Okay, now that we finally finished our face, I swear I talk too much sometimes. Let's do eyes. So I'm gonna fill in my brows really quick because that part is boring. And then I'll come back to talk about the next Mother's Day bundle. Okay, so now that my brows are filled, I feel more complete. And let's do eyes. So if you do not see the Mother's Day bundle, comes in this square, comes in a marble square, and it comes with the best brush ever if you don't have it already, the Eyeshadow Everything brush. And these are the 4 colors that come in it. So we got Mama, Lullaby, Trust, and Hija. So I just use Trust in my brows. That's like always and forever gonna be my go-to brow shade. I'm gonna show you the swatches. So Mama, so these are all mattes. So if you do have more aging eyes or you're buying it for your mama and they don't like the shimmery shadows, this is a perfect one for them because they don't have to worry about that. I know this Lullaby is one of my mom's favorites. So this is Lullaby. It's just a beautiful plum matte. Mama is just a nice pale pink. It's a great lid color. And then we have Hija, which I know scares a lot of people, but I'm gonna show you how pretty it is. It's a beautiful like fuchsia. I guess you call that fuchsia. And then Trust, which is, in my opinion, the best matte brown, dark color. It's not warm. It's not too cool. It's like, it's the perfect brow color for me. So, I'm gonna show you guys that. And I might add in a little bit and show you how you can take it up a notch as well. But let's go ahead and start with just these colors and the brush that we have. And so in these, I would consider Lullaby the mid-tone crease color. You guys know I'm all for mid-tone matte in my crease, and I'm just going to touch in and I'm gonna go right in that crease to add depth. Now, if you have hooded eyes like me, remember you wanna keep your eye open and apply it right above the actual crease on your eye so that people can see it. Okay, otherwise you're not gonna be able to see the color at all. So I like to go windshield wiper back and forth. You can even take a line right up there and use that as a guide towards your eyebrow, corner of the mouth, corner of your nose, and then just kind of fill that in. Blur that, and it gives you a nice base to build the rest of your shadows on. Let's do the other eye. So this color can really be as subtle or dramatic as you want. So I feel like I did it pretty subtly, but you could totally just keep building up that color by adding more if you want. So I'm gonna use that small end again, and I'm just gonna run that all the way under my lower lash line to halo it. So for me, this technique really minimizes the look of my wrinkles under my eyes. I'm not even joking, I kid you not. It makes the biggest difference. And when I don't do it, I feel like I look so much older. So the importance of this color is really to like define your eye. It's also great for smaller eyes, that if you put a thick harsh line on that bottom, it's gonna close up your eye. So for me, I have smaller eyes. It makes them appear bigger, and it doesn't like cut them off like a harsh liner does. This is how I line my eyes now. I do not use, I rarely, I don't wanna say I don't, I sometimes do, but they're for much more dramatic looks. So that was Lullaby all the way under the eye. Now you can use the same brush. I'm gonna use it a little bit differently. I'm gonna go at it sideways, and I'm just gonna kind of wiggle to get the color on the edge of my brush. I always tap off excess because I don't want to have fallout because I just did my full face, right? So then I'm just gonna press, okay? I'm not sweeping, I'm pressing so that I get more pigmentation. And I'm just gonna press that Mama, which is the lighter color, on my lid. Okay, easy peasy. You could totally stop right there. That is like a really pretty, everyday, beautiful eye, right? So let's step it up a notch. Okay, I'm gonna try to use this same brush, even though it's really hard for me not to grab my favorite outer corner brush. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna show you guys how we can rock some Hija. Okay, this is a very bold color, so knocking off excess and starting off with a little and building the color is very important. So any darker shade, if you don't have a base shade down first that's lighter, that's when you get into being able to where it's like hard to blend. Okay, so that's why I always do my crease color first. You get that mid-tone color down. You can add your lid color that's lighter first too. It doesn't matter, really, it's your personal preference. But when you get into these darker, more bold shades, if you don't have that base down, it's gonna be harder to blend, okay? So I'm going to pop it right here on my outer corner, kind of into my actual crease. Notice how now I'm like, my eye's not open. Like before, it was above the crease. This is gonna be kind of right there. It's almost like I almost said peekaboo, peekaboo pop of color, right? So it's like subtle, yet it's totally there, and you can just build up from there. So I'm just gonna kind of use that on my outer third, okay? And then I'm just gonna kind of blend it into that crease, and I'm gonna repeat. And obviously you can keep going if you want it darker or more bold. Or if you need to get them even, like me, because I feel like this side has more. Honestly, I feel like that's the hardest part with a bold color. Ow, it's getting them even, right? This is why we start off small. You can easily add, but you can't so much take away. So this one's now gonna be a little darker because I can't take this away. Obviously, another great trick is having another eyeshadow brush and then using this one to blend. Clean brushes blend about 100 million times better than a dirty brush would. Okay, we just used 4 of the colors, technically all of the 4 because I did my brows, but I want to show you guys same brush and how you can add a little bit of depth, or you can even use this along the lash line. I would suggest using either that Multitasker or even one of our angled brushes to kind of line your eyes with Trust, or you can add a little bit of outer corner depth with this small end. And it's really easy. I just press. So press it on. I'm just kind of pressing in that little triangle formation. See, from here to here to here. And then I'm just moving it around and I keep pressing. And suddenly my outer corner is darker and I have that natural shadow there that makes it just kind of, well, for one, it makes my eyes look bigger, which is why I'm always using this technique. So triangle, slowly moving. This is the one I usually use the blend and tap brush for because that end is so much bigger than this end that I don't have to move. I just press, which is why I usually go with this one because it is bigger. You guys know me, I'm all for efficiency. Whatever will do the job fastest. So since I am using this whole look, I'm using this brush, I am going to not take the pink one. I'm gonna grab the clean one. You can use a shadow switcher if you have one of those, or to kind of take the color off before blending. But then I'm just gonna kind of blend and make sure I don't have any harsh edges there. Now, anytime I use a darker color on the corner like that, I then like to bring it down and connect it so it looks complete. Otherwise you have this gap. And there you go. Okay, real quick, I am going to use a little bit of Black Friday, which is our eyeliner, cream eyeliner. And I'm just gonna press just a little bit in that outer corner and smudge it slightly to make my lashes look thicker. Any black eyeliner will do. And then I'm gonna use that same brush and I'm gonna use Trust. And I'm just going to press this on over it to kind of smoke it out. Make sure I don't have any harsh edges or lines with that liner. Anytime you have any fallout, grab a big fluffy brush. I really don't have any. Okay, what's left? Okay, so my eyes are pretty much done. I'm gonna take it up a notch. Now, I used all these 4 colors and got that look, but I like a touch of shimmer. Now, if you have more mature skin, you can easily just put the shimmer where it's not going to show any emphasis in texture on your lids, like I have the same issue. So you can totally just grab that same powder illuminator you used, or you can grab a shimmery eyeshadow. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use a touch of Soulmate, which is one of my favorite pink shimmers. And I'm gonna use that same small end of the eyeshadow, everything. And I'm just going to literally brighten my tear duct. Couldn't think of the word for a second. And then just kind of blend it up into my eye there. Use the same color under my brow. Okay, and then obviously those are areas of your face you don't have wrinkles, so you can still get that pop and that brightening effect, but it's not going to emphasize texture. Now, if you feel like this is too purple for you, or you had really trouble getting Lullaby to blend, here is a tip. Take your eyeshadow everything and grab a warm brown. So Bubba, you guys know, is my go-to. I'm gonna grab that and I am just gonna go right over the top, the uppermost top, to kind of just blur that Lullaby into my natural skin tone. And you'll see it almost ombres it up. This is a great tip. If you just have trouble blending that top, especially if you're using a darker shade, or say you added too much Lullaby and it's just too dark, you can kind of blur that edge and have it kind of go up. Okay, you can also add a little bit of that to the bottom. I love Lullaby and Bubba mixed. I think it's just the perfect cool and warm combo. So if you love the matte eye, but say you want to like take it up a notch one day, I would totally think that this look would be amazing with a touch of Twanda. Okay, if you don't know what Twanda is, it might look straight up pink, but it is no joke like rose gold in my opinion. I would just take a little bit on my finger and I'm going to just put, I'm just gonna just lightly tap it right there on the lid. Oh, I love that color. Okay, so it's very iridescent. It's very rose gold. If you love rose gold, you will love this color. So that is how I would kind of take it up a notch. I am going to add mascara. Use your eyeshadow everything brush one last time. Give it a nice blend. Make sure you don't have any harsh edges. And then here's the time where you can totally use that highlight brush. Okay, especially if you did your face first, you can still clean up those edges, clean up any fallout, and you are good to go. So that's it, guys. That is the full look for spring using pretty much all of the Mother's Day bundles. They all are released April 9th. So put that on your calendar while supplies last, probably, because that's usually what happens. And I hope you enjoyed today's Get Ready With Me. Thanks for bearing with me, and I love you guys. Bye.